and I didn't. Well, I hadn't expected that I could see her cleavage. Well, I could see the cleavage of her huge tits. To start with, I haven't expected she had such huge tits, but actually huge beautiful tits or huge beautiful boobs. But actually, so I happened to watch that television program. And hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Back to With podcast version, and this time I don't have time. So, and which means I have some amount of or some length of free time, but actually, so I'm busy. So, which is why I'm thinking of finishing this episode as a brief episode for a short time. And anyway, so which is why I'm sorry for my clumsy manner or stuttering manner of speaking English. That is because I'm a native speaker of English language, and by the way, so I'm enjoying my alcoholic drink, or this is an alcoholic drink of mine. This is not a cider anyway, but actually, so the density of the alcohol is 7%. And this time the title is Ms Ayumi Hamasaki, the famous musician, is a busty lady. Did you know that? And the conclusion is I was watching the television program below to watch the cleavage of her tits and to know what type of characteristics she has. The television program is NHK Music Special, and there's such a television program, or and this is the name of that television program. And NHK is a national broadcast of my country. And by the way, so I live in Japan, and my mother tongue is Japanese language, and maybe I should start to talk about Ms Ayumi Hamasaki. And I had been a fan of that musician or that singer. And to start with, so I'm in my 30s, and this time I came to know, I happened to know that she is at the age of 45, and she is 45 years old. She is 45 years old. I couldn't pronounce well anyway. So, and which means she's older than I am, and so which is why. So this time, so she was an interviewee in that television program, and I wanted to know what characteristics she has. But actually, so I didn't have an idea. I didn't have a picture of understanding, or I didn't have an image that she was a busty girl or busty lady. So she's older than I am. So which is why. So it's better to say that. Well, it's better to use the term busty lady or curvy lady. And so I didn't notice that she was a busty lady or curvy lady, and she had slightly thick lips. She had slightly thick lips, which means so those lips were slightly arousing to me. And to start with, and at the time of that television program, so she wore a jacket, and the cleavage of her two breasts was shown, or was exposed. The cleavage of her breast was exposed, and which was arousing to me. But actually, so of course, I was interested in, or I was excited at that cleavage of her huge breasts, and so I admit that. But actually, apart from which, and I was concentrating on that television program, and I was not entirely concentrating on the cleavage of her breast, and or her part lips, or her slightly or moderately thick lips. But actually, so I was listening to her, what she has experienced, or what she has thought in the course of her own life. And so that is because recently I'm interested in aging, or what will happen and in the course of aging, and I'm in my 30s, and I feel and recently I began to feel that I'm getting older, or I'm aging, and I'm losing my own youth, or I'm losing my own young vigor, or I'm losing my vigor, or energy other young people would have, and which is what I'm feeling. And so maybe other people in their 30s are experiencing the same sensations, I think. And so people get older, or people begin to get older in their 20s, or in their late 20s, I think. And in my case, so when I was in my early 30s, I had been fine. My vigor had been fine. Maybe I didn't feel that I was getting older, or I was aging. But actually, I'm not pronouncing aging play, but actually aging sexual play. But actually, I'm pronouncing aging of getting older. But actually, so I mean, yeah, I'm not in the beginning of. I'm not in the beginning of 30s. So when I started creating episodes in this podcast, so I don't specify my own age, but actually, so in the after, and or no not this is not the correct expression. So after, no, not after, yeah, years after, or a few years after the creation of episode, after years, some years after, or a few years after I started to create episodes of my podcast, I began to feel that I was getting older, or I was aging. So I get so anyway, so in this present time, or in this recent time, I feel easily exhausted, or I feel easily tired, which is a condition, or which is a state, or which is a situation of the bodily health of a person in his 30s. I'm sorry for my anyway. So I don't speak English well, and to start with, this linguistic ability of speaking English, or of speaking foreign language, I think. Anyway, so I should call this ability an ability of speaking out foreign language, and when it comes to pronouncing foreign languages, and it maybe other people can do well. And to start with, when it comes to pronouncing Mandarin, or standard Chinese language, and pronouncing standard Chinese language is fine for me, and meaning I can pronounce Chinese language well, and just pronouncing is fine. But actually, when it comes to conversations with native speakers of Chinese, I don't think I can converse, or I don't think I can talk with native speakers of Chinese using Chinese language well. And anyway, so getting older is what I'm talking about, and my disability of speaking out foreign languages is deteriorating, or disability is going down, or the performance of disability is falling as I get older, or as I age, or as my age, as the age of mine is increasing. So this is the situation, and which means, and Ms Ayumi Hamasaki. So I or Japanese people Japanese people start to call people with family name, and after which comes their first names, and which is a naming manner of Japan or other East Asian countries. And Ms Ayumi Hamasaki is 45 years old, and which is why I just wanted to know how how they would think. And in that television program, she was saying that she had repeated the same stuff or the same thing, and although she was a singer and she was feeling such a thing, which was and the fact that she was feeling that she was doing the same thing was really surprising for me. That is because I'm an office worker, and so, but actually I don't feel I'm repeating the same thing, and my works repeatedly change, and so I don't know. I know I feel I understand the reasons to some I understand the reasons to some degree. So my works frequently change, and but actually and I process them for and I process those works and accomplish the goals of those works. And because those works are secular, those works are created for accomplishing the goals which are supposed to be given to me, or which are supposed to be assigned to me. And anyway, so which is why I work and I do different things occasionally. And but anyway, so which is why and she was saying that she was trying to fulfill the demands by her fans, and once she wanted to move away from such a reality, and which according to that interview done for Ms Ayumi Hamasaki, and she was saying such a thing, which is my, of course, this is my translation and this is my understanding. So anyway, but actually, so yeah, I thought that, and what I could understand was what I felt. The impression I got was that so about her having repeated the same stuff, and about as to which or about which. So I thought that she had a mind of a white collar worker, and those white collar workers, and of course and this is the case. I think this is the case to blue collar workers, and in the case of white collar workers, they repeat the same stuff. At least some white collar workers have the same feelings or the same impression about their works. And what was that? And the fact that she was feeling the same thing was surprising to me. And that is because I thought she was an artist or something, which is why so repeating the same thing is not the fact which would happen to her life, and she would be doing different things, and what she has to do must change as time passes, and her life must be filled with many changes, which is what I have thought. And after watching that television program, and what I could realize was that even those artists or even those singers feel that they were repeating the same thing, and repeating the same thing leads the brains of doers to deteriorate. I'm sorry for for my clumsy manner of explanation in English. But actually, what I wanted to say was that, anyway, so one's life filled with changes makes him or her grow up, which is, and that is a forced growing up. This is a kind of forced growing up, and I don't know whether this explanation is correct as English language or not. But actually, so living on with changes is said to be better than living on without changes. Anyway, there is such a culture in business fields. And anyway, but actually, I don't like so many changes so much. But anyway, so I frequently face changes in my works. And what was surprising was that sometimes even those artists feel that they were doing the same things, and sometimes they feel that they haven't faced changes in their course of lives, which is anyway. So that is one of the impressions I have got from that television program. And anyway, it's fine to finish this episode here. And anyway, so this is an excuse, but actually I was watching the cleavage of her huge tits or huge breasts, and I was enjoying her huge breasts. But actually, so 90% of the reasons that I kept watching that television program was that I wanted to know what kind of person she was, because I had been a fan of that singer, Ms Ayumi Hamasaki, and which is why. So anyway, I was trying to absorb her ideas or her life. Her life spoke out by herself. And anyway, so I was trying to absorb her thoughts or her ways of lives, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So wait a moment, please. So I think this is fine too, and I'm sorry. And anyway, by the way, so I'm drunk. So which is why I'm not. This is another reason that I'm not speaking English well. And so according to Mr. Hiroki Nishimura, people can speak English well when they are drunk, because they grow more foolish. Anyway, but actually in my case, so I can raise my speaking performance by drinking. But actually, so sometimes in some topics I don't speak English well when I'm drunk. Anyway, the title and the conclusion of this episode. The title is Ms. Ayumi Hamasaki, the famous musician, is a busty lady. Did you know that? And the conclusion is, I was watching the television program below to watch the cleavage of her tits and to know what type of characteristics she has. And if you'd like to know which television program of my country is what I'm talking about, please check out the description column of this episode, and so that I'm going to prepare the link for your visit. So for your visiting this episode. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you.